Hey guys, how's it going? Chris here. Tonight I'm with the 2016 Focus RS. This is a 2016 because this is a Ford Performance car and it has a few goodies on it from Ford Performance. It has the catback exhaust, which sounds pretty good, and it has the drift stick. We've basically spent all weekend with this car, hooning it around. We spent some time at an ice race up north, driving on a lake, and we spent some time out at M1 Concours on the racetrack, basically sliding this around the track and the skid pad. If you haven't seen those videos, go check them out. Tonight's video, though, gives us an opportunity to test this car on the street and just kind of see how it does with some dry grip. We've pretty much had snow non-stop this week, and this RS being on winter tires, it's been doing great, but this thing is a beast in the dry as well. And I just wanted to give you guys an idea of what it's like, what kind of cornering grip it has, what it feels like, and kind of my experience so far this week with what this car's been like to live with. So right off the bat, you'll notice these beautiful Recaro bucket seats. And you can hear the exhaust. Sounds like gunshots are going off. It's pretty loud. It basically accentuates all the pops and crackles that come from the RS naturally, and you go under underpasses, under bridges and tunnels, this thing howls, and it sounds good. There's no drone either. It's a really nice system. And then here you can see the drift stick. So we've explained how this all works in the other videos when we're actually using them. It's not really recommended to use this on the street, though you do have to be in a pretty specific mode for it to work. It needs to be in drift mode and with everything completely off. And as you might notice here too, it's probably a little bit hard to see at night, but this car also has the short shifter. Honestly, I can't tell the difference between the short shifter on this RS and the stock shifter. It just feels a little bit lower, maybe a tad shorter, but honestly, it's kind of hard to tell. Listen to this exhaust though in this parking structure. It sounds pretty menacing. So first things first, this car has been a riot. It is a blast. It's the ultimate winter hoon machine. It's a little bit finicky. The all-wheel drive system doesn't like being hooned for long periods of time at high RPM. It's been spitting us into limp mode if we keep the revs high, but we noticed the other day at M1 Concours that if you keep the revs in the mid-range and you're not blasting like crazy, you can keep it out of limp mode and basically just slide this thing around all day without any problems. This doesn't actually have real temperature sensors in the differentials. It's an estimated sensor, or it's an estimated temperature based on the driving conditions that you're putting the car through. So it's one of those things where you kind of have to, once you learn the system, and you know, basically if you think about it, if you're driving in the snow and you don't need to put the engine and the transmission under as much load, the system shouldn't need to put the car into limp mode. If you're on the dry and you're really going to be needing to wring the car out and get those higher RPMs, the car is going to heat up, the differential is going to heat up, so it's going to estimate that it's going to be hot. And one way around that in the snow and in looser surfaces is to keep their RPMs pretty low. So right now we're just in normal driving mode, no sport, nothing fancy. You can still have a little bit of fun with traction control on and stability control on. You can see the car step out just a little bit back there. In all modes but drift mode, it feels very well balanced. You feel a nice balanced all-wheel drive setup. In drift mode, it almost feels rear driven. It's pretty amazing the transformation that the car goes through when you switch modes. Overall, I'm just going to say this thing is a riot to drive. There are some compromises though with daily drivability, and I wanted to go over that in this video particularly. So one thing you may have heard, you may have noticed so far in the video, is that the RS is stiff. It's very stiff. It's not unlivable, but it's a little bit busy. Your girlfriend's gonna complain about it. Passengers might complain a little bit. The other thing that kind of piggybacks on that is just the Focus inherently has a little bit of a tight cockpit. It's a little bit cramped in here. You can see here, really nice cornering performance through that turn. It's very predictable. This car is so easy to drive. It's nice to heel and tow. The brakes are great. Just for fun, let's throw it into drift mode here. And I'll show you guys what it's like on this entrance ramp. So immediately you can feel the front end dart in just a little bit sharper. The car feels really balanced around that rear axle. It's almost like it's rotating from behind you instead of from the center of the car. It really does change the character. The car's much more willing to turn in and much more willing to rotate on throttle. And of course you get all those pops from the exhaust. This car, I really do like this exhaust. There's no drone on the highway. It's very livable, and it just wails. It sounds fantastic when you're on it, and the pops are always exciting if you're pulling up to someone and you want to play them the sound of your people. For our purposes, though, we're going to throw this back into sport mode. Power from this engine is fantastic. Torque everywhere. Only complaint really is fuel economy. We've been getting pretty dismal gas mileage. Probably under 200 miles to a tank. Of course, we've been ragging on it, but I doubt we've crested 20 miles to the gallon this whole week. Some of those have been on longer freeway trips. This thing has gone through a ton of gas. I think we're probably on our 4th tank of gas by now in 4 days. And that says something. You're gonna be, if you're gonna have this car, you're gonna enjoy it, and you're gonna be on throttle, in boost, almost constantly, just because it's so much fun. So just be aware, you're probably gonna be in the teens as far as gas mileage. Feel free to look up what Focus RSs are getting in the wild on Fuely or some app like that. You can get a pretty good idea of what these cars are doing in real life. Besides the stiff ride, this car is super livable, very easy to drive on a daily basis. It's still a Focus. Let's talk a little bit about the drift stick. You probably can't see it too well right now, but it took me about a day to get used to it being there. I kept running my hand into it, I kept knocking it around, but once I got familiar with it and got used to it, I could live with it. I could live with this drift stick in this car. It's that cool that I would probably get one. I would want it as just a cool feature to have. It's great for track stuff. It's good for drifting. If you have a wet track day or access to a winter track day, or you can do any rally crossing or just anything that warrants a drift stick, which could be a lot of situations. If you just need to impress that girl on that first date, drift stick. Got to get around a hairpin corner, drift stick. You're going one way, you need to quickly go the other way, do the drift stick. It's just a cool thing to have, and I can't believe that Ford is offering it in a stock car. It's pretty amazing. I've thoroughly enjoyed it this week. It's kind of been a little party piece and a nice conversation piece with friends. I think the fact that maybe it gets in the way a few times here and there is definitely made up for in the sense that it provides you a lot of fun. And I would definitely highly recommend it. I actually don't know how much it costs. It's pretty clever how it works, and it works really well. Major points for the drift stick. It's fun. Turning radius on the Focus RS is not great. The rack is incredibly fast. It's only 2 turns lock to lock. The advantage is a really sharp turn in, really nice agility through tight spaces. Like if this would make a fantastic autocross car. But your turning radius just isn't great, and I'm sure that has something to do with the all-wheel drive system as well. Love the throttle response. Love the character of the engine. There's so much to like about this car, and it's just fun. It has a personality. Those pops and crackles are hilarious. I haven't gotten bored of it in the last week. I don't think you guys would either. If you're a driving enthusiast, this is just a great alternative. It's really fun. You know, I would probably struggle living with this on a daily basis just because of the ride quality and how bad our roads are in Michigan. But if you live in an area, you live in a state where the roads aren't terrible, you'd be okay in this. And you can always swap out the suspension. I know there's some other companies that are offering much softer dampers and coilover setups for these cars. I'd really like to see the stiff mode be what the normal mode is, and the normal mode be a lot softer. This just feels over-damped and oversprung to me. What else can I say about this car? You know, it gets a lot of attention. It gets a lot of looks. This is a great color for the RS. Probably my top choice. There's also a gray that looks good. The white looks fantastic. You kind of can't go wrong. The RS is just a really compelling aesthetic package, as well as, I would say, a performance package. You compare this to its competition, the Civic Type R, the STI. I think ultimately the Type R is more fun to drive and drives better. It's just front-wheel drive perfection, but that's what it is. It's front-wheel drive. If you want a master of all-wheel drive hoonery, get the RS. If you want something that's tried and true rally car bred, you got to go for the STI. If you want something that's probably the ultimate daily driver, I would swing for either probably the Golf R, maybe the Civic Type R. The only thing that gets me on the daily drive with this car is the lack of interior space and just the fact that the ride is so dang stiff. You could probably get over the interior space. I'm a smaller guy. Once you get in here, it's cozy, it's fine, it's okay. But if you have any larger passengers or any passengers in the back, it gets a little bit cramped. I know I only talked briefly about the short shifter. I do like it. I honestly can't really remember that there's much of a difference between this and the stock shifter. But I will say that this does feel really good. The only thing that you notice is that the shift placement is a lot lower than stock. In this case, I probably wouldn't want to swing for the short shifter just so that the drift stick and the shifter were maybe a little bit closer together. But it's fine. It's been great this week. I really don't have any complaints about the Ford Performance products on this car. The exhaust is fantastic. The drift stick is just super, super fun. I wouldn't recommend using it on the street, but you get out on a track or a controlled environment, and it really becomes predictable and easy to use, and just a fun accessory to have on a car. I think more cars should have drift sticks, for sure. All right, guys. Well, it's been a heck of a week in the Focus RS. There goes my phone. Too many G-forces. Too many bumps. That's what it really is. You can see just how sharp the steering is on this. Boy, this would be great in autocross for a slalom. We'll see what we can do in the summer. We might have to book this for an autocross or something. A little mini gymkhana. But it has been a fantastic week in this car. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I will miss it when it's gone. It's just a little hot hatch that's just made for fun. It puts a smile on your face. It hasn't gotten old for me these last few days. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments. I will catch you guys in the next video. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you later.